Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Let us know. Can you hear us? Can you see us? Make sure that you're posting in chat to everyone. Whoever comments first is going to be the winner.
Oh, me.
Oh,
there we go.
So close.
Oh no, Carlos beat me.
Amanda for president. Yep. So actually, Matt's going to go ahead and take this one. He's going to win this one.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just sign off then, and Amanda can give the talk.
We're just gonna. I'm gonna do the talk. We're gonna bring Matt in. John's gonna go and exit. Yeah, we're going rogue here.
I love it.
Awesome. Hopefully there are some more excited people in the chat. I don't know, where are you from? What time is it? What are you drinking? I'm drinking water. I'm in Boise, Idaho. 4 p.m. I'm exhausted. I've been up way too early. They're Australia. Oh my gosh. 3 a.m. Somebody is here and it's 3 a.m. So you might actually win this one. 5 p.m. 11.
3 a.m.
We have, Egypt, 12. Wow, midnight, Ireland. So Ireland, maybe we've got some Irish coffee going on here. 11 p.m. How are you staying awake? India.
I like this drinking water in Madrid. I don't know. I've been to Madrid a couple of times. I don't think I drank any water when I was there. So.
There's a winky face there. I'm suspicious here.
Clear liquids. We'll leave it at that.
All right, everybody. I know that there's some people that are still going to join us, but we are going to go ahead and get started. I don't want to take up any of John's time. He has got a great presentation for us, opting into optimization. Say that 5 times fast. He is from the good, and he's going to talk all about CRO, and I'm just going to let him completely take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Amanda. So Dr. Carl Blanks, who was arguably the inventor of the term conversion rate optimization, once said that the average web page is designed less scientifically than the average toilet brush. See, the majority of website design and copywriting is still in the pre-scientific age. Most web designers rely on inspiration and not experimentation. And this is a problem. And that's why I started The Good over a decade ago. See, I'm on a mission, and The Good's mission is to remove all of the bad online experiences until only the good remain. And that means I need everybody to change their websites for the better. The outcome of that will be higher conversions, I promise. So through our mission, we've been helping e-commerce companies increase sales online for over 12 years now. Brands like Nike, Xerox, Adobe, The Economist, and hundreds of mid-size e-commerce brands. I have heard so many times recently, and in fact, even more than ever yesterday when Facebook goes down, that traffic generation sources are just hurting. Ads cost more now than ever. And I think it's important to make the point that your brand's site isn't affected by all of these latest changes. Optimizing your site can make up a lot for the difference of what's been going on lately. You'll need to move your data collection and tracking from ads to your owned website. And we're going to talk about that today. So aggregating data is all that is needed for success. Conversion rate optimization doesn't need individual data. So the privacy challenges and changes that happen with Apple and changing with iOS 15, et cetera, won't kill your site conversions overnight. This means conversion rate optimization is a sustainable solution and will help you build a resilient brand. It is impossible for a brand to understand what the site experience is like for a new to file customer. Why is this perspective important? Well, for one, it's really hard for a brand to optimize their own website because they generally don't understand the unique perspective of a new visitor's site experience. And two, if a visitor can't understand a brand's website, how to navigate it, what the value propositions are, or even what products the brand is selling, then they're going to bounce right away. So, what can you do? Well, you can use data. There are four key types of data that you should be deploying on your site. And you may have some of these, you may have all of them. If so, that's great. The first is analytics. I'm talking about more than just what Google Analytics gives you. I'm looking at top sellers, seasonality information, the paths that people take through your site. Talking about heat maps, so scroll maps, click maps, session recordings. Even one of my favorite is eye tracking. And user testing is a great one. So, really, you can understand what people are doing on your site through all of those quantitative data points we just talked about. But this tells you what people are thinking, not just what they're doing. You want to understand the why, not just the what that the quantitative data provides. And if you're unfamiliar with user testing, this is all about sending people to your site who match your ideal customer profiles, asking them to complete some tasks while you record their screen and their audio, and you train them or ask them to talk out loud about what they're thinking. So you'll understand where their objections are, what information is missing. This is all stuff that is easy to get if you're talking to your consumers, but very, very few brands are doing that. The fourth I want to talk about is A B testing. Now, armed with the data from the other three, you can now use math to help tell you how to best proceed. So you come up with hypotheses based on the first three analytics, heat maps, and user testing. And then you use that to test out your hypotheses and small changes on your site where you're looking for iterative improvements. You're not looking for swing for the fences, you're looking to get on base. The ultimate goal, though, it's to make data backed decisions. And this helps you navigate those uncertainties, such as the iOS changes or Facebook going down, to help improve your conversion rates. What is a good conversion rate? I get asked this daily. And the answer is actually pretty simple. It's one that is always improving. Focus on incremental improvements to your conversion rate day over day, week over week, or month over month. And it will get you much, much further, much, much faster. Look, there's always going to be room for improvement, anyways, right? And I think that the best way to be thinking about this is the 1% rule. It's a great model for conversion rate optimization. The 1% rule, if you're not familiar with it, comes from a book called Atomic Habits. And it says if you get 1% better each day for just 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better at the end of that year. 37 times better. I don't know who here wouldn't want that. And it's all about those small incremental gains. So just work on your site a little bit every day, and you'll see massive gains at the end of the year. A good conversion rate is the result of a healthy customer experience. It's not the cause. So, what do I mean by this? You can get a really good conversion rate because you have a great customer experience, but you can't get a good customer experience just by having a high conversion rate. They're tied together, but it really only goes one way. Or to put it another way, a good conversion rate doesn't indicate that there's a great customer experience. And a healthy customer experience can improve a great conversion rate. So, anybody here today that wants to improve their conversion rate right now, just discount all your products down to $1. I guarantee that your conversion rate will skyrocket. The problem is that's not sustainable and it's not making a great customer experience. You're just eating into your margins. And I think the perspective that needs to be had on this is that when it comes to your website, your goals and your customers' goals are aligned. You both want a conversion. Think of your site like a retail store. If you wouldn't do it in a retail store, then don't do it on your website. Just because you can see, or you can't see the consumer on the other side of the screen, that doesn't mean they're not human. Would you jump out in front of an in-store customer, forcing them to sign up for your email list? Well, we do that with email pop-ups. Would you rotate your products automatically from side to side, making it difficult to grab the product that somebody's interested in? Well, e-commerce sites do that with rotating carousels on their homepage every day. What if every time a customer put an item in a cart, you rushed them all the way to the cashier? Well, we do that by redirecting to the shopping cart every time they add a product. So I think there's a lot of examples here of ways that your customers and you want a conversion, but you treat the consumer differently than you would if you were to help them, kind of like you would do in your retail store. So the best way to think about that is thinking about your site as if it's a retail store. A good example of this is Knoll. So Knoll, if you're not familiar with them, makes the most popular office chair ever. You've probably sat in one. It's called the Aeron chair. Very standard and especially technology startups these days. Most folks at Knoll order their products through a designer. So they have an office designer or even a home designer, interior designer they're working with. And the challenge is Knoll had a fairly involved checkout process with really high cart abandonment. They showed us their site when we started working with them. And that was one of the first things we noticed in their data. And our research, we did a lot of research, and it showed that folks really wanted to just add all these products to their cart and then send that product to their designer. And they were researching on mobile and wanted to pick that back up on desktop where they could have a better look at the products and a better look at the colors. So, what we do? Well, we tested some things, and what we landed on was adding a feature that allows customers to email their shopping cart. And this resulted in a 500% lift in conversions and a 2000% revenue growth year over year, just from adding this functionality into their shopping cart. This is where customer service or customer experience improvements can really lead to higher conversions and more revenue. There is no shortcut to sustained conversion growth. Best practices are for beginners. Best practices are a great basis for learning, but they can't replace the value of testing. Trends, well, they don't move the needle. You really want to be focusing on strategy versus the tools and individual tactics. So, what does that mean? Well, I've seen brands try a whole bunch of tools, especially Shopify makes this very easy with their app store. And I love the Shopify app store. Don't get me wrong. It's a great marketplace. It's one of the reasons Shopify is as prevalent as it is. But the biggest challenge, I see brands install things like spin to win wheels or those recent sale pop-ups that come up out of the corner and say, so and so in Austin bought this product an hour ago. And negative intent shaming, things like, no, I don't like discounts on their email pop-ups. These are things that you read about and they're on some checklist and somebody wrote an article that this helped them blow up their conversion rates. The challenge is that there is no app or trick or hack that is going to double your conversion rates overnight. Similarly, there is a reason that racehorses wear blinders. Competitive research is not data, and so many brands rely on this. Here's the reality. You might see something you like on a competitor site, but you don't know if they're running a test. You could have got opted into an A/B test and they don't even know if it's working yet, but they put it out there and they're giving it a shot. You don't know if their tactics are actually working for them. They could have something up that they put up and maybe it's just not working for them still. And really, the point here is that your site's visitor data is the only thing that matters. Competitive analysis can fuel a smart testing program, but you should not copy blindly. No one strategy is going to work across all sites, even in the same category. And, we've worked with several different eyewear brands. And a great example of this is that if eyewear brands just looked at other eyewear brands, then and copied them, they would have a lot of concerns because one of the first things that we did was we worked with an eyewear brand that is for the older population, and they sell readers. And we've worked with an eyewear brand that sells sports eyewear. And then we've also worked with ones that sell prescription lenses for young, savvy computer users, and they're more about blocking blue light. So those three brands, all eyewear, all the same category. And if you went and looked at a conversion rate, average conversion rate online for eyewear brands, they'd all be lumped in there. But all three of those are reaching a completely different audience and solving a completely different pain. So it's one thing to copy competitors, but the reality is it's just not helpful. And no one strategy is going to work across all sites. Here's a great example of something that Rolly Shoes took from a competitor site blindly, and it really killed their mobile conversions. So we started working with Rolly. If you don't know them, they make great travel footwear. They're out of Australia. They have a extremely loyal following. And Rolly did something where they, for lack of a better term, stole the mobile navigation at the bottom concept from one of their competitors. And we asked them, why is your navigation at the bottom? That's a little bit unusual. And they said, well, we found it on one of the competitors who we think is bigger than us, so it must be working for them. Well, we tested navigation and just moving it to the top, and it dramatically outperformed their copycat approach. We saw 6% lift in conversions and 165% return on their investment from just running this one test and working with us. Consumers, they're only at your website for two reasons: to research and then to convert. I promise you, we've been optimizing sites for over a decade. Every user test we do, it's the only two reasons. They want to research and understand if your product or service can solve their pain or need. And if it can solve that pain or need, they want to convert as quickly and easily as possible. And that's it. And this is especially true during holiday shopping when you're competing with the likes of Amazon's quick buying process. So anything you do to interrupt that flow of research, such as throwing a pop-up in, trying to collect emails, or just making it complicated for consumers to find the products they're looking for, and you're going to have issues. So how can you apply that to your site for the holidays? A great example here is to ensure that you're making it very easy to do research. As the majority of the world's transformed to work from home last year during 2020, home office and high quality home office furniture like Foley's was in really high demand. Specifically, they have their iconic Jarvis standing desk, and it had a much longer lead time than usual due to some factory shutdowns. Something that is still unfortunately, it's still really recognizable to most e-commerce retailers today. I just read an article last week about how many container ships are off the port in California of the United States. It's crazy right now. It's setting new records daily. And it's definitely going to be a challenge through the rest of the holiday shopping season. So while this presented challenges for Fully, the team knew there was an opportunity to create and creatively display their in-stock products and give customers the option to shop for something new that maybe had a shorter lead time if they really needed it. So what did we learn out of this? Well, you have to make sure you have a dialed in product filtering experience. Our team saw so many eye tracking heat maps, and they were all engaging on the product filters. So much so that our hypothesis was that the filters were confusing. People were spending so much time looking at them, and so many clicks were happening that it really wasn't making it much easier. It was actually much more complicated. So what we did is we made a change to conversions, to the filters, which had a dramatic impact on their conversions and revenue. And it's something that you could implement pretty quickly now for Q4. Just changing theirs around what the functionality was and making it much easier to sort resulted in a 5.97% lift in conversion and a 75 to 1 return on investment. When it comes to your website, your goals and your consumers' goals are aligned. You both want a conversion. 100% of the time, clarity is going to be better than cleverness. Brands want these beautiful, creative site designs, but they typically waver too far away from these tried and true design principles. But you can have your cake and eat it too. Start with a data driven wireframing, and then let your design and copywriting teams run wild within these guardrails that you might put up. And again, going back to that, your site is treat your site like it's a retail store. That's a really easy way to make sure you're within those guardrails. So your goals and your customers' goals are aligned. Again, you both want a conversion. This holiday season, you're going to spend a ton of money, as long as Facebook's up and running, to get folks to your site, right? All these ad dollars on multiple channels. Once visitors have reached your site, it's important to know that your marketing has won. It's time to stop marketing and start selling. And to do that, you really need to serve your website visitors' needs. So I'm not saying that branding isn't important. It is. What I am saying is that once you've driven somebody to your site, it's now time to help them complete those two things that they're there to do: research and then convert as quickly and easily as possible. Let's look at an example of this. You can still meet your visitors' needs while baking your marketing messages into that shopping journey. So here's a brand, high-end footwear, Beckett Simonon. It's a brand that we've worked with for a while. And one of the tests, we had a hypothesis that, we didn't want to remove all of the branding from the site. We wanted to figure out how to incorporate that brand and marketing message into the site as much as we possibly could. And one thing we thought was, well, a lot of people are casually looking at the category pages. So this is the shoe category page. And a lot of consumers at this point are just scrolling down, looking at the different pairs before the path shows they click on one and move forward. But that's a great opportunity to reinforce some of the brand messages. So what we did is we added brand messaging in throughout the product grid on a product category page, just hitting on a few brand messages. And what we found was doing this really could address a couple of things. It could really focus on addressing the objections that consumers have. It could also help the brand feel like they were actually getting some more brand messages and what's unique about them versus other dress shoe brands in front of a consumer along that path to research and conversion. So here what we did is embedded these in the category grid, and we saw 5% lift in conversions and a 237% return on their investment just from this one test. So that it is definitely a gold mine to be thinking about this. Another great example we see all the time is multiple messages, usually discounts, unfortunately, in promotion bars at the top of sites. We've tested dozens of different messages, and the only ones that sustainably move the needle is free shipping. So this holiday season, don't overload your promo bar with discounts, sales, or even worse, multiple promotions. Instead, keep it simple. Eliminate the visitor's fear that there's going to be a surprise shipping fee in checkout. This will be way more sustainable than any discounts that you would include here. You should also use this space to communicate shipping deadlines, given the upcoming holiday shipmageddon, if you will want to call it that. But let's talk some more about discounts, because I think it's really important that we hit on this point. Once a brand offers a discount, the consumer will forever look at them as a discount brand. No doubt that a discount will boost conversions. As I mentioned earlier, mark everything down to $1, you'll sell. Or as realtors say, every home will sell, even the ugliest home on the block, at the right price. Thus, if a brand has to do discounting to bring in a new to file customer, then they were just priced too high to begin with. My point is this: discounting isn't sustainable. It doesn't lead to the customer loyalty or long term growth. And it's actually a big concern around a lot of brands will do this at holidays, and then they'll see sales drop off the rest of the year because they haven't built a customer base from those holiday sales. Instead, they've built a discount customer base. And I want to be clear, there's a big difference between a discount and an offer. All right, discount versus offer. And there are so many good options besides a dollar or a percentage off discount. You could do things like buy one, get one, or gift with purchase, as Layered Superfood has done here, or loyalty programs, membership programs, scarcity, social influence, exclusivity, like only having a specific colorway on your site and not in your retail locations. Guarantees, maybe you get an extended warranty if you buy direct from the brand, or there's some type of 90-day return guarantee, etc. Free shipping is an easy one we already talked about. You could add urgency, limited time. Now this is an easy one to fake, so definitely don't be fake about it, right? You don't want to create mistrust, but having urgency can really help people move forward. And I could really go on, but this holiday season, I implore you to really not hit that easy button. Instead, think offer instead of discount. Remember, the majority of website design and copywriting is still in the pre-scientific age, and you can solve that. So let's talk about a few next steps from here. You can download a free copy of the book. I know a lot of people attending today already have. I've been checking out and seeing how many people have been grabbing that book. It's on my talk page, or you could go to thegood.com/book and use the code BFCM for Black Friday, Cyber Monday 2021 and get a free copy of that. I also have a new book coming out in the third Tuesday in October. So in about 3 or 4 weeks. You can get a free copy of a sample chapter of that book, at thegood.com, OITO, which stands for Opting In to Optimization, which is the title of the new book. So if you liked a lot of the stuff I mentioned today, this book goes into a lot deeper into each of these topics. And then as well, 2 other things, you can always get a exclusive offer on an assessment from our team here at The Good. And feel free to email me if you have any questions. I am an open book. I read every email that comes in. Please feel free to email me. And I do read every email and do my best to respond. Most people are really good about not spamming me, so I don't have an issue giving out the email. I trust everybody. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I am here for another 20 minutes or so. If there are questions, I'll look in and see if there are a few more that have come up. I have not been reading the chat, so I will go hop over there and do that.
We have a few questions that have come in, and if y'all have any, drop them in the chat now, and we probably have time to answer quite a few. So any and all thoughts. Someone was wondering, so Philip is asking, how long do you wait before you decide if a modification has worked? And do you make one testing at a time?
Yeah, Philip, that's a great question. So depending on how many visitors your site gets is what type of velocity of testing and changes you'd be able to make, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, If you have, 1,000 visitors coming to your site a day, you're going to make very different testing decisions than if you have 10,000 visitors coming to your site a day, right? And that's all because you really want to be able to prove things out in a mathematical formula with statistical significance without getting too deep into it. The reality here is if you have a smaller site, I want you to swing for the fences and do one test at a time so that you can really see the impact of that is. If you have a little bit different, a lot more traffic, generally the breaking point is it's actually pretty small. It's about 50,000 visitors a month. If you have 50,000 unique sessions to your site a month, you can start ramping up that testing velocity and start testing different points throughout your site and be able to get some good return on that data within about a month timeline. So usually at the good, what we recommend is to redo basically a month cycle with your testing and try to prove things out within that month cycle.
We have another question.
Mhm.
Have you tested and seen a performance difference in the promo bar, like free shipping versus another
Mhm.
message?
We have. We've run, I don't know, dozens of tests at this point around messaging and promo bars. And I will say that free shipping has always won. The reality is what we believe is happening is this innate fear that you go to buy something from a brand direct to consumer and you add it to cart and then you get into the cart and the checkout and you realize that they're adding a shipping charge, and that's not uncommon, but there's a fear in that. And what we find is it happens throughout that entire buying cycle and that entire research cycle that they just see this looming thing at the end of the journey that is going to be added on to the price. And what we have found is if you eliminate that fear up front by telling people you have free shipping as early and often as possible, then we see people calm down and they go through that research phase with a little more earnest, and you see your conversions go up. So generally, if you have high cart abandonment, you want to check into shipping. Now, there's a lot of great tool sets out there. I can't recall the name of it, unfortunately. There's a great Shopify app that allows you to test shipping prices. So you could even run an A/B test on free shipping versus, charging whatever you would normally charge, and it allows you to at the same time adjust your pricing. So you could run a great test where you bake in the shipping charge into your price of your product, and run that pricing test along with the shipping test and see what the results are. Um, it's a great tool. It works really well. But I can tell you every time we've run the test that baking that shipping into the price of your products and offering free shipping typically does much better than charging for shipping.
I always try to think about, marketing as a marketer, but then also as a consumer. Like
Mhm.
when I'm experiencing things as a consumer, I'm trying to like see the marketing tactics. And I cannot tell you how many times if I do not know what shipping is going to be, or I get a surprise shipping hit at the end, like I am the world's worst cart abandoned girl. Like I
Yeah.
just do not want to pay shipping, even if I know it's free and I know it's
Mhm.
baked in. So I don't know if I was one of the people you tested, but so I think that's always good to, like obviously data is incredibly good to make informed
Mhm.
decisions, but also like put on your I'm a consumer hat too.
Yeah.
Um, that's how I can rationalize that free shipping.
Yeah.
um,
Great.
and
Yeah.
especially right now, because Black Friday, I mean, shipping, I feel like is the red alert siren right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Um,
Very much so. Especially with folks are also okay with a little bit longer shipping time right now. Yes, you're competing against Amazon and Walmart who have, 1 and 2 day shipping. But the reality is when I order from a direct to consumer brand, it's not uncommon to say, it's going to take a week to get here but the shipping's free and I'm okay with that. Most folks are okay with that. If they need it right away, generally that means one of two things. We see it in commodities quite a bit, right? If you're buying a commodity, reusable products, something I need right away, then they obviously will ship it sooner, and that helps. But we also see that if you're ordering from an Amazon or something of that sort, that it's okay to take a little bit longer because you're just people know that if I need it right away, I'm going to go to Amazon and get that product. So
Um, so we're continuing with our trend of shipping. So how would you say, how do you convince your C-suite to do free shipping?
mhm.
It looks like Amber might have small to large heavy products that can be
Yeah.
over 1,000 pounds.
Amber
Wow.
must be shipping safes, I guess. I don't know. Uh,
Pianos or something.
yeah. Well, I would say that first of all, I recently bought a safe. And when I did so, okay, thank you, Amber. But when I did so, I went to Amazon because I knew they would ship it for free and nobody else would. And the shipping was very expensive. But if you're looking at things like machinery, et cetera, the reality is when I'm buying a product that is bigger, and what we've done a lot of testing, a lot of user research around this, I should say, what we have found is that consumers expect that there's going to be a freight charge for these larger items. And they know they're not getting it in 2 days. It comes with, the logistics behind it, and that's okay. And I think, being upfront about that is really going to be the key. So if you absolutely can't do free shipping because the freight charges are just expensive, then you could do something like there's a delivery fee, right? It's not the shipping, it's we'll come and place it into your location. So if you think about it, whenever you buy appliances, right, your local appliance store is going to charge you a delivery fee, and it's going to be, let's just say, $100. The reality is it probably costs them at least $100 to get it to their warehouse and then over to you. But they're saying, hey, you know what? For $100, we're going to come in, we're going to place it where it belongs. We'll take away all the packaging, right? And so there's some value in that besides just the shipping. So I guess my thought here, Amber, is what other value could you provide with that besides just the transportation to their house, right? Could you, assuming machinery in that big, if it's B2B sales, right? Then I would imagine that folks would want it at least put where in the location of their shop where they want it. If it's home people, last thing I want to do is carry 1,000-pound item down my steps by myself and get it into my workshop or whatever that might be, right? So things to be thinking about there.
Um, Another question. So lead time is very important in customer fulfillment, but what can be done to improve with user experience?
Mm. Yeah, great point. So there's a lot that we've seen that has worked really, really well. The first is set expectations, as I mentioned about Amber's issue, right? Definitely tell people it's going to take a little bit longer, and that's okay. As long as you've given them a heads up, they'll know. The second thing is there's a lot of communication that could be done. So if they're not going to get their product for a while, keep them in the loop. I recently ordered something, and they sent me an email and they said, "Hey, John, just wanted to let you know we're having, I think they actually said in their email, our warehouse ceiling had a leak and it ruined a bunch of our packaging. Obviously, this is not your problem, but it means we're going to have some delays, and we wanted to let you know immediately." And so I was like, "Oh man, that's horrible." But and it's bad for them. I actually had empathy for them in that situation instead of being worried that it was going to be an extra week to get my product, right? And I also was like, well, you know what? Instead of just shipping me a box that had been soaking wet, and I would have been upset as a consumer because I don't know if the product would have been damaged too. They were like, we're going to take our time and do it right. And so I think there's communication that could go into this. You could be sending, obviously you want to send order confirmation email right away, but then you could also send some email chains on how to use the product, things they can do to prepare, right? So, if you are shipping heavy machinery, hey, you're going to have this type of power plug. You need this much space cleared out. Here's things you could do to prep for the delivery and make sure that you have everything cleared out. Reply back if you have extra steps or a unique delivery situation that our gentlemen who are delivering need to know about. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that you could be thinking about. So
That's a great answer. Yeah. Post purchase is a great way to educate while waiting on
mhm.
getting your stuff. Remind us, so when is your book coming out? So it's October. Remind us when we can expect it.
I think it's the 25th. It's the third Tuesday, which is 26th, excuse me. So
26.
in 3 weeks.
Awesome. And then, so Philip was asking, so while we're waiting for your book to come out, where do you suggest someone can go to become more proficient in conversion?
I would say thegood.com. We have our weekly insights. So there's the insights email sign up there. Thanks for the softball pitch, Philip. But here's the thing. There's some great communities out there, all based around optimization. And I think that, a lot of the stuff that you could be thinking about doing here is self-education. So Philip, if you haven't gotten the prior book that I wrote, that's a great spot to get into. It's written for that small and medium-sized brand who just wants to jump into optimization. We've had a lot of even larger brands buy it for their entire e-com teams and spread that around and have a discussion on it. So that's an option. But our email sign up is once a week. We send out a helpful information article where you can learn about optimization. There's never a sales pitch in there. It just informs you that, hey, we put up a new article. Here's the synopsis of it. If it's something that you're having a challenge with, go read this. You'll get some helpful information. And that's really our goal. It's all behind our mission to remove those bad online experiences. So really, we're just trying to help educate as much as we can there.
Awesome. I'm going to drop that. Dropping lots of links in the chat. So y'all make sure you're clicking. And then I think we have time for this final question, unless someone can sneak in one really fast. So once you've lost someone in the cart abandoned process, what strategies do you recommend to win them back?
Well, here's the biggest issue. The easy button on this is people send that abandoned cart email that has a discount in it. And I don't know about everyone on this today, but I know, my wife knows, everyone I know knows the first thing you could do if you want a discount is go online and type in domain and coupon code, or get one of those apps like Honey, the browser plugins or whatever, right? The second thing you're going to do, if you can't find one, is abandon your cart, because especially if you don't need the product right away, and then come back tomorrow. I can almost guarantee most mid-size and higher brands, what's going to happen is you're going to wake up in the morning to an email. Hey, you left this in your cart. Here's an X% off discount, or here's some added benefit. So I think that's the easy button, and consumers have been trained to that. And so unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of high cart abandonment because of that. And it just becomes kind of a really unsustainable practice. So what else can you do? Well, the first thing you can do is just be very, very clear in your cart about what the next steps are. Really add trust seals in cart, right? So not all over your site, but when they're giving consumers giving you their private information, their credit card, etc., make sure you let them know it's secure. That step. Shopify does a really good job of this with theirs. There's also, ways to do upsells in the cart, and those upsells could be bundled offers, things that help people to get over that hump of abandoning right before they would do that, right? And so I think there's a couple of things there you could deploy, but really what I recommend doing is not falling into the trap of offering that discount right away. It's great to send a cart abandonment email. My thought is just don't make sure you put an offer in there if you're going to do it, not a discount, because that's going to be a big reason people abandon. They know that that's going to happen. So unfortunately, you're fighting the trend on it, but the best way to get people back is just hold your ground that you're not giving them a big discount. And maybe even the best email I've seen, somebody just said, hey, I bet you were expecting a discount right now. And that might be why you left your item in your cart. We don't do discounts. We have 2 sales a year. So I don't know. There's a great brand called Bear Performance Nutrition. Nick Bear is a social media icon. He's on all the time. He's a former special agent in the Marines, I believe. And he came out with clean, certified clean nutritional supplements. And we've worked with them for a while. And the first thing they do is 2 sales a year, and that's it. And they do one on Veterans Day and one on 4th of July, because those are the 2 things he believes in. So that's something also, like, if you're really going to do it, tie it to a cause, right? He is very veteran friendly and believes in that. And so that's one of the causes he wants to support.
That's awesome.
Let's see.
We have one more. I think we'll stop after this one.
Okay.
What do you think about recommending products as the customer enters checkout? Kind of like how shopping malls put products in view as like you stand in line and check out.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I think there's a bunch of tools to do that now. I've even seen a bunch of tools where once you check out, you might also, like, you can form a kind of a group with other like brands that you are familiar with and want. And then there's a Shopify app that allows you to promote those other brands after somebody has purchased yours. There's also tools like CartHook that will allow you to do post-purchase upsells. But as they enter checkout, I'm a firm believer of trying to do the upsell, but don't try to overdo it. Keep it relevant. So what do I mean by that? Well, you could do something like I mentioned earlier, a bundle, right? So if you're buying shoes, well, hey, you can also get this 3-pack of socks, right? So that's something to be thinking about. Becky Cinnamon, I believe, did that with great success of increasing their average order value. Really want to be looking at increasing that average order value. That's going to be the key. So, really, what are the little add-ons that people are going to want or need, and how do you get them to lump that in as a bundled offer, where if they bought them separately, it would cost a lot more, but you're able to get your AOV up by putting them together in that checkout experience. So that would be my recommendation.
Awesome. Well, here is the final link drop. Make sure that you have those coupon codes either written down somewhere or remember them. And you can just follow that link and get all those goodies. If you thought this was a super helpful, great, insightful chat, please give John some love in the chat. That's always the best way to send people off. It's like crickets.
Yeah,
There we
all
go.
good.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Well,
it takes people a minute to wake up.
yeah, no worries. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun, and I look forward to connecting with some of you guys elsewhere on Twitter, email, etc. Don't hesitate to reach out. So.
Awesome. And thanks everybody.
Thank
I'll see y'all at the next session. Join us for Eco Carts. We're going to talk about sustainability and e-commerce, and it is in like 12 minutes, if I can do math, roughly 10. So I'll see y'all there. And thank you again so much, Sean. This is great. And I'll see y'all soon.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.